All right, so when I ran Grandma's this past June, I went into the race with no time goal, no expectations, because I had gotten sick 6 weeks before that, and I was still not healthy, and I wasn't able to run for a period of time. So I had lost some fitness, and that definitely, I still felt it on race day. I definitely didn't have the miles on my legs like I should have, but I want to talk about one thing that I did that completely changed everything in terms of my mental game and my ability to stay on point with nutrition, hydration, and pacing, and something that I will continue to do forever. For every half marathon, 10-mile race, I'm doing this at Twin Cities this weekend on Sunday, and definitely every marathon. This is something that is also in every spreadsheet that I put together for your races. So this was my pacing chart from Grandma's Marathon. I had it folded up like this, and I actually carried it with my handheld water bottle, or I just tucked it in my shirt. So this, like, again, I've mentioned this a lot. I do not like carrying anything. I don't like carrying my phone on runs. I don't like carrying a handheld water bottle. But the handheld water bottle gets me results. It keeps me fueled and hydrated. It carries my fuel. So it's necessary. And I've practiced with it over time, so now I'm used to it. That being said, when I first thought about this pacing chart, because I wanted to significantly increase my fuel and hydration on race day for Grandma's Marathon because it was going to be hot. And I didn't want to remember like where all the aid stations were. I didn't want to try to memorize any of that because that's mental capacity that's being used up for memorization, when I really wanted to focus on embracing the entire experience of the race and staying on point with what I thought I could do for pacing. Given the state of fitness, like that goes for any race, whether you're not in the physical state that you want to be, or if you're like in tippity top shape for your race. So if you, within the spreadsheet, I need to look at it for a minute. I have a nutrition and pacing tab, and I also, depending on the race, will have an elevation pace sheet tab. If I have the breakdown of elevation gain and loss for every mile, like I did with Grandma's Marathon, I have it for New York City Marathon, I have it for Twin Cities Marathon, I'll input it in there. And yes, we're going to run typically negative splits for a half marathon, for a marathon, 10 mile, any race. The elevation pace sheet shows if you were to run even splits, if your goal race pace was 8 minutes per mile, what each of your miles is going to look like based on the change in elevation. So if it's downhill, maybe that's going to be a 7 minute and 53 minute per mile. Okay, like it's going to fluctuate a little bit if you were to run the same, if you're to lock in on that pace based on the elevation. But I have kind of turned that into a nutrition and pacing sheet, so you can put your mile splits, the pace strategy that we've talked about in that chart, and then you can mark the aid stations. Where are the aid stations? Are they every other mile? Are they like every 2.5 miles, every 3 miles? Are they just random? You can mark those in there. You can mark when you're going to take each of your gels, which gel you're going to take. You can mark when you're going to take your electrolytes, if you're doing like the salt caps or the salt stick chews. And that will give you all of your information right there on a piece of paper that you can look at during the race, so that you do not have to remember, okay, I need to take a salt cap every 2 miles, or every water station I need to take a gel every 3 miles, or every 20 minutes. I need to run this pace for my first 5 miles, then I need to run this pace for my next 5 miles. That's a lot to remember. And yes, you can memorize it all, but math while running is hard, especially when you are dialed in running half marathon pace, 10, like the faster you get, the more intense it gets, the harder it is to remember. And then later on in the race, you're going to be thinking about only running your race and trying to finish instead of, okay, it's been 2 miles, I need to take a salt cap. If you don't have it written down, you start to question, okay, did I take one last mile or do I need to take one now? Or your gels. Did I take one 2 miles ago, or was it 3 miles ago, or was it a mile ago? So this pacing chart helps you tremendously with all of that. So I want to highly encourage you guys to, I just highlight it, copy it, paste it as an image into a Word doc and print it. You can screenshot it, have it on your phone if you're going to be carrying your phone with you. But whatever helps you remember your pacing plan, your nutrition plan, your hydration plan. If you know the elevation, that gives you an idea of like, okay, this next mile is going to have a big hill, so it's going to be slower. So maybe I want to wait to take my gel until I get to the top of the hill and I start going downhill again. Or this next mile is going to be pretty fast because it is going to be downhill. Okay, so I just want to help you guys with freeing up your mental capacity so that you can focus on your race and you don't have to be focusing on all these other things because it's right there in front of you, and you just have to do what the sheet tells you and what I tell you. So I put mine together for the Twin Cities 10 miler. So I have it all here. I also have the elevation course because I want to know where the downhills are for each mile and then where the uphills are. Because I'll time my nutrition around that. And I'm also going to vary my pace a little bit, especially since it's going to get hot. I'm going to kind of vary my pace based on that. I originally had a pacing plan, which I have listed here for each of the mile splits and then the cumulative time. But I'm going to adjust that based on temperature, and I'm probably going to just be running based on feel, keeping it pretty easy on Sunday. But I still have a nutrition plan. I still have a hydration plan all written down, and I have the elevation of each of the miles, the gain and the losses, so that I know where the hills are. So again, 10 mile, half marathon, 10K, marathon, ultra marathon, having a nutrition plan, having your hydration plan, having your hydration or your pacing plan written out on a piece of paper that you have with you that you can just look at, and it's like, okay, my watch just hit mile 3. I need to take my next gel or salt stick cap or whatever it is. Okay, so take a look at the nutrition and pacing chart within the Excel spreadsheet for your race, and you'll find what I'm talking about, and you can add in your information if I haven't already done that based on what we've talked about. Okay, let me know if you have any questions about any of this at all. I did do the math on the fuel and the salt that I took it, or the electrolytes that I took in on Grandma's, so I'll do a separate video on that so that you guys understand what marathon nutrition and hydration looks like and how you modify it for hot races.